Lightning. Meanwhile, Jim Supra and ESV Breeze not too far off of them. To get on board with THR Lightning here. And Lightning right on the rear bumper of ESV Scottson. Scottson having a very good start to this race, but got a lot of pressure right now. FRF Toys fading just a tiny bit back there. Looks like he got a good run up the last section of the track. Meanwhile, Jim Super still trying to catch up to the tail of this group. Side by side, still door to door. Design looks to the inside. Design's trying to make it 3 wide. 3 wide down the front straightaway. Design. He's going to try to pick 2 of them off right here. 3 wide in the 1. Roberts prevails. And Design gets right on by Sean. Does he? No, Sean has a door right alongside him going into the S's now. Still side by side coming up and through it. Bombers now trying to put the pressure on Barco. Barco with the team play right there. He lets Bombers go by for the race lead. And now Sean dealing with not only teammates working together, but he's got AMS drivers just as hungry and in the championship fight. And he's right on the rear bumper of Sean. You gotta have friends sometimes. Sometimes friends can be a burden, but not today here. Sean drops from 1st to 4th and 6th laps of racing. And now he's gonna hunt down Design again, who's currently right behind the ESD barcode. And if you're just tuning in, we got ourselves a good one here at Suzuka. Roberts currently leads, barcode 2nd, 3rd, AMS Design, and 4th, RZM Sean. And Vanquish still trying to find a way around JJ and Red. JJ looks like he checked up just a little bit off the 2. Vanquish got a big run to the inside. And he's going to try to make the pass here going into 3. And goes to the inside. Vanquish clips down. Oh, and Vanquish gets loose into 3. It hits the outside wall. Barcode able to get him by. And he's got to get back in the gas and try to get it going. Meanwhile, Barbers is falling all the way back to 16th. Looks like he might have made a pit stop, I'm not sure. But Kobe all the way still leads it here at Indianapolis. Vanquish still hasn't found a way to get back up to the 2 guys in front, but Kobe all the way still leads this one here. Doing a great job. Let's check the fuel. We've got about 50% fuel left in the car. I don't think that's going to be good enough to make it till the end of this one. But we've got 2 laps here to pit. Oh, and Kobe all the way is going to make the pit. Is JJ Red staying out? JJ is. He's going to get that 1 bonus point here tonight. Code as well. Let's hop on. 3 wide coming up.
All right, everybody, welcome back or I should say, welcome to the new MEA Porsche Cayman Cup for round number 1 tonight at the Nurburgring GP circuit. I'm your host for the weeknight series, RZXJJ Reds, and we should have a good one. We have a total of 11 drivers starting tonight here at Nurburgring, and we'll go ahead and go over quickly with the starting grid. It's going to be RZM Design on the pole, and joining him on the front row is SSR Twig. Third will be Trans Autumn. TNR Obvious will start fourth. EVR Walshy and EVR Crank, the two new drivers here at MEA. BOE Gray, who has made a couple GT starts in the past, so he's got a little experience behind his belt. It's Icon Gaming as well, making his appearance for the first time tonight. EMC Vision joining us as well. RZM Poping starts towards the tail end, and TNR Obvious will also start 11th towards the tail end. So 9th, 10th, and 11th will start tail end. They did not show up for qualifying, but we will go ahead and load us into this track. I need to make sure that I'm spectating. So I'll check chat if I can in a minute, because this is a kind of a new thing for me doing this. So everyone just stick with me and be patient. All right. So for how this series is going to work, if anyone is been a follower since the previous GT series or championships, however you want to call them, it's pretty simple. They will do one outlap to start this race, and then they will double up after the final chicane leading into the last corner. And it is green to the end. The only time a restart can happen is if someone does lag out. Hopefully that won't happen, because we are at least a little over 20 minutes behind on schedule, but so a lot of returning names, a lot of favorites, and a lot of new rookies. Not for the series, but in just MEA in general. So I'll go ahead and pull up the chat on my phone here. So if the bit rate or if stuff starts lagging, I do apologize about that. You know, this is kind of a new setup for me. I do plan on getting a capture card, but the way I'm streaming this race is by Xbox Gamecast. Seems to work alright, but occasionally it will start to be a little weird. So for this series, it will be one mandatory stop. You can take that whenever you want in this race. Alright, I have the chat up. Alright, we're approaching the last chicane now. They will double up coming out of that. So it's Design, Twig, Autumn, Obvious, and the two EVR drivers that will make up the first three rows. Alright. Coming around the last corner, the start of the Porsche Cayman Cup. at Nurburgring. "11 drivers, 28 laps in total tonight for round number 1. We are underway. It's Design and Twig that leads us down into turn number 1. Autumn pulls to the left-hand side immediately on the start, but nothing there as they'll go side by side with SSR Twig. But it is Design that has an okay cushion there at the start as we go pretty much single file through the first section now. Looks like no one is off the pace here. We'll go a little further back to EMC Vision, who started, I believe, 9th and has worked his way inside the top 5 side by side with RZM Poping. Poping, another driver that started towards the rear. Poping pulls to the right. And nothing there going through the carousel. Maybe now, because Vision just went wide, but Vision's going to have the better exit. Here we go through the Schumacher S's. And Vision got onto the grass. Is he alright? No, he's not. He loses the car and ends up in the grass. And we'll go right to the back, right where he started. So Twig is able to right now manage his second place spot, but is not too far behind Design as Poping now goes to the outside of EVR Walshy, and Walshy gets a touch from his teammate EVR Crank as they will go side by side in the last corner. BOE Gray also in this 3-car battle for the 7th place spot. So a lot of the fast drivers that started towards the rear are already inside the top 5. So fuel kind of spreading out here. Vision has made his way back in the 10th. That's Icon in 11th for his first start of the series. In 11th, we'll go up to TNR Horizon, who started in the tail end. Horizon's already got passed by Poping. We'll just pull that up for now, so I don't scramble to get it later. But kind of hectic there on the opening lap with the faster drivers coming into play against some of the not so faster ones. But here's SSR Twig here. He's got about 2 car lengths back from RZM Design, who has led so far this race, but Twig is still putting the pressure on. Autumn not too far behind as well, having a peek at this battle. The top 3 are somewhat nose to tail as we start the 4th lap. A little lockup from Twig that shouldn't hurt him. So 7th on back, kind of all bunched up here, but we'll still stick with the top 3 right now. There's TNR Obvious in 4th, and I believe that was Poping also in 5th back there. So once Poping starts to creep his way in towards the top 3 here, I think it'd be quite interesting. And we already have a DC. I hope it's not who I think it is. Okay, it wasn't Design. Design said in the party that he doesn't know if he would make the whole race because of frame rate. Oh, it was Gray that DC'd. So we'll go on board with Twig as Design got a little bit wide. Here we go to the downhill section into the chicane. Design a little bit further ahead this lap now. So it seems like Twig is able to reel Design in going into the first section here. Just a little bit. So while they stick in their top three ways, continue to pull away from everyone else, we'll go back to Walshy with Crank and EMC Vision. Walshy has pulled just away just a little bit now as Vision now puts pressure on Crank. So we go to the Schumacher S's. Oh, Crank got a little bit wide now. Now Vision thinks about opportunity to pass to the inside, but Crank is going to block the inside of the defensive line coming out of the Schumacher S's. But Vision couldn't capitalize on Crank's mistake there. But we'll see if anything happens going to the chicane. He's in the slipstream. He's got the draft. Will he get the move done? So it looks like the lag kind of fixes itself early on. I thought the lag would just stay there. But now these three start to spread out. We'll go up to Obvious, who's got RZ and Poping right in his rear view. 4th and 5th. We'll go behind. There's Obvious. And then there's Horizon in the background. Poping getting a little bit of a good run as I think Obvious just made a mistake here. Poping gets alongside. Nothing Poping can do about that. Except just put the pressure on. Poping pulls to the left hand side. Obvious didn't really block it, but kind of just had the better line going in. Poping still 5th while these two battle it out. That's Horizon in the distance. Now Poping pulls to the left-hand side and will take the 4th place spot from Obvious. Well, we got a little switch over. Now Obvious to the inside going through the last corner. And hoping pretty much copies what Obvious just did through the chicane, and he'll take back the 4th place spot. Obvious will stick with Poping as long as he can. So the top 3 will go back up to these guys. Design currently has led lap to lap so far, but Twig, surprisingly enough, has stayed right where he's been, just the car length back. We saw Design kind of pull away as the laps went on the last time we saw them. But who knows? I think Twig might have something cooking tonight. We know Design's fast. He's always a favorite when you put him in a GT car. I think he might be struggling to kind of pull away a little bit here. So in qualifying, I would kind of notice that it was Twig and Autumn that were the running pretty much ideal lap times. They were in the low 57s, but I mean, of course, as race progresses, you start to get kind of, fast. Pressure isn't always on. That's just how Forza works. So everyone has kind of just running their own race now. No significant changes on the grid. So Twig is one of those drivers who has kind of backed off from the game here a few months, but here recently, this month, the past 2 months, he's been kind of throwing his name into the mix. This is his, I want to say, his second start back. Yeah, second start back in a while in the league. And he's putting on a pretty good performance tonight. He's still in second. Still got Design in front of him he needs to pass. But if Twig was able to pull away the win as Design went to the grass there on the exit of the chicane, I think it will mean a lot to win this race tonight if Twig were to do it. And this has become a pretty common trend. Twig really reels him in the first section, but the last 2 sections, Design's been able to just run away with it. But this has just pretty much become how the race has been. Not sure if Icon made a stop or not. And now Design's pulled away even further than he has in the last two sections of this track. But good job by Twig so far, just kind of maintaining his spot and at least have a good battle for the race lead. There hasn't been any passing for the top spot, but Twig would definitely be the closest to do that. Autumn back there in third, kind of falling off the pace from these two just a little bit as laps goes on. So it looks like, I don't know, Poping already got around, obvious, but so it looks like we have Icon in the pits. So we'll go further back in the mid-pack, just inside the top 10. So Poping really hasn't gotten away from obvious like I thought he would. Nurburgring is known to be one of the most inconsistent GT tracks, so maybe that's a reason why. Oh, Poping went in the grass on the exit of the chicane, and obvious will take over. I'm glad we caught it at the right time, too. Now Poping has another opportunity, as obvious will leave him the space on the inside. This is going to be a corner where obvious will have it, but Poping will have the faster line going in. But it really doesn't matter as he went into the grass. Oops. Computer falling asleep. Poping looking to take the fourth spot. Oh, did he just spin out, or was that a spectating glitch? No. He spun out himself. Or no, he didn't spin out, but just slid through the Schumacher S's. So we're starting to reel our way into what appears to be pit stops here, as everyone does have to take one mandatory. So this has been your battle for the lead for exactly 12 laps. Twig really hasn't found any sort of run to get around design. And of course, we've talked about it lap for lap. Design really pulls away in the last two sections. So that's what's kind of killing Twig here, and we've got a screen of death. Was that one of the EVR drivers? I couldn't tell. I want to say that's Crank. Yep, Crank DC'd. So Crank will finish 10th. It's really unfortunate because Crank was one of the new guys. So like we said, the last two sections have really been hurting Twig to try to find any sort of run, but he's gotten close here and there. We're right on board with Twig. He's found a little something, so about 2 car lengths back now. As I think, maybe I'm wrong, but they are using opposite tunes. I think Design may be using more of a top end. Twig is using Shelby's tune. So maybe this explains why Design pulls away. So Poping has caught Obvious again, and we'll go back to them as we just catch Poping go through the gravel trap. So we'll stay with Poping as he tries to avoid more mistakes catching up to Obvious. And Obvious will take the chance to pit before Poping does. We'll go back up to Twig and Design. Twig is the fastest lap of this race, but I doubt it was clean because he has been right behind RZM Design this entire race. We'll see if Poping pits this lap, or he might think he has race pace to get around obvious without needing the pit any sort of pit strat. Twig was very heavy on the brakes there. So we'll go through a little rundown as we're starting to see some drivers take the opportunity to pit here as someone else is in the pit. So it is Design that has led lap for lap. SSR Twig back in second place. Has stayed right where he was at the spot. Autumn in third. RZM Poping started at the tail end up to fourth, continuously battling with Obvious. TNR Horizon rounds out the top 5. EMC Vision in 6th place. Obvious, who made a stop a few laps ago. It emerges 7th. EVR Walshy P8. And 9th is Icon Gaming. So alright, so Design pits. Twig will have the race lead. It's very crucial that Twig runs good laps here if he's able to get at least side by side with Design as long as he can. Autumn, Poping, and Horizon all in. So here comes Obvious in the chicane. We'll see if he was able to stay in front of RZM Poping. He'll get around his teammate, but he will not get around Poping. Poping will take the net fourth. Vision in second place. It's a good opportunity for him to kind of get out towards inside the top 5 and run some laps here before he makes this one and only stop. This is a big moment of the race because Twig is not able to get around Design, and like I predicted, Twig is gonna pit the lap later. This may or may not decide how this race plays out. Go back to Design. Vision will pit. Here we go. Did Twig run a faster lap? Twig is out, but he will not get the race lead. Doesn't have enough speed going into turn 1. It's the Design that will take back the race lead in green flag pit stops. Haven't talked much about Horizon tonight, but little by little he's been able to reel in his teammate. Looking for a top 5 finish tonight after starting towards the back. Yeah, I'm not like Steve. I'm pretty laid back when it comes to spectating races or commentating. Autumn has really fallen off from the top 2 after the cycle here. Now is at pressure as laps goes on from Poping, as Horizon battles with his teammate for the last top 5 spot. Five and a half tenths separate first and second. It's the battle we're watching for the last top 5 spot. So we'll find out what the latest news is on first and second. Nothing much to report. Man, Twig has run a phenomenal race tonight. If he has been able to run 19 continuous laps with design, I mean, if I was in Twig's position, I'd be ecstatic, even if it's a race win or not. I feel like this series will give Twig a good opportunity to kind of get some more hours clocked in before it's time to move on over to the new game, as Twig looks to try to make a comeback on Forza, spending his time over on Horizon 5. I honestly, at the start of this race, I thought it was just going to be Autumn and Twig duking it out for the second place spot. But Twig has finally gotten able to get in the 56s. Less than 10 to go. Twig starting to fade back a little. We'll go back to battle for 5th. It's getting closer. Pit stop help Horizon catch up to his teammate, but hasn't done a whole lot on race pace to get to his teammate. Little by little, he's been taking that gap down. I feel like it's going to get close. Maybe towards about 3 laps to go when these guys get side by side with each other. If Horizon can do it. We'll pull up our race map again and we'll go through another check on the field. It is Design that started on the pole and has led the whole race to this point. SSR Twig in the second place spot has been right with Design. Autumn in third, about to get pressured for a top 3 spot as RZM Poping has come into the mix, as Poping started towards the back of the field. Obvious started 4th in 5th, under pressure from Horizon. Horizon, the driver who started towards the rear. It's EVR Walshy who battled with EMC Vision and EVR Crank, but has kind of just run by himself the whole race. And Vision again as, oh my. Vision has just been running laps by himself as well. Again, running with Crank and Walshy early on in this race. And Icon for his first start, gonna finish in the top 10 spot in 9th place. So we've got a battle for 3rd going on. Poping has passed just about every single car tonight. He's got 3 more to pass, but I don't think it's possible that he can catch the top 2 with this many laps to go. So these two desperately trying to get on the podium to start the series off on the right foot. This is a place where you can make a lot of mistakes, and right there they didn't make any. How aggressive is Autumn going to be defense-wise? Autumn blocked the inside lane just a brief moment. Oh, but she went in the grass. Is Popin gonna do it? It looks like he might. To the right hand side he goes. A battle for the last podium spot on the line here on lap 23. They door slam each other going into turn 1. Poping around the outside in the first section. Now Autumn with the inside, and Poping will have the inside in the next corner. They are still side by side. And Autumn will hang on to the third place spot. And while that's going on, Twig might have found something. The gap was about, I think it was less than 30 feet. Hoping much, much closer this lap. What a battle this is for the final podium spot. Poping looks to the left. He'll late break Autumn going into the chicane. Autumn will have the drive off. Well, just like last lap, Poping was able to send it in turn 1, and they stayed side by side on the exit of the first section. And Poping went wide there on exit. That's really gonna hurt just a little bit. So if you want to make a pass, now's the time to do it, as we have about 5 laps to go. We'll check on first and second. Is there anything different Twig can do here? He is going to need a second and a half at this rate. And these two side by side through the Schumacher S's. For the third place spot, Autumn has a defensive line. And Poping's going to get the third place. think Autumn can really do anything from that far back. You can tell Autumn wants it back by the way she's driving. Oh, a little shove. It's not gonna hurt Poping, it's gonna hurt Autumn. We'll check back on the top three later. Horizon got around his teammate finally. Design is just so much better off the corners. I thought Design was just about to just die there. By the way he was running a line through the S's. That was close. Things have really heated up with less than 10 to go. Poping finally in the podium places. They're about 20 seconds behind. We've only had 2 DCs. That was EVR Crank and I believe that was BOE Gray. probably just going to stick with these two. We have 2 laps to go. Taking the final lap, coming around the last corner. Design has led 28 of 29. Final lap at Nurburgring. Does Twig have enough energy? And this has been the definition of this battle for the lead design, with the top end down the streets. That is why Twig has not been able to get alongside of him. But Twig has nonetheless put on a great performance. One last section to go. Can Design hang on to it? Twig tried everything he could, just did not have the setup to counter Design tonight here at Nurburgring GP. Last corner for RZM Design, has led from the pole, but had pressure from SSR Twig the whole race. Design takes the opening round at Nurburgring. Twig finishes second. And the third place spot's going to go to RZM, hoping around the final corner he goes from starting towards the tail end. Autumn did everything they could to hang on to a podium place, but at the end just wasn't meant to be. But good job by Autumn here tonight. Horizon will finish in the top 5 after starting towards the rear. Obvious 6th, ER Walshy 7th, and EMC Vision 8th. Alright, so we're going to wrap it up here. We'll pull up the race results one last time. Design, Twig, Autumn, actually Design, Twig, and Poping, Autumn, and Horizon all in the top 5 for tonight. Obvious, Wall Sheet, Vision, Icon, Crank, and Gray round out the rest of the field. Alright, we'll get the top 3. Alright, we have our top 3 in with us now. So we'll go ahead and get post-race interviews underway now. And we'll start off with the 3rd place tonight, RZM Poping. And Poping, it was a good drive starting towards the rear after skipping out on qualifying. How difficult, from your perspective, was it maneuvering around kind of the slower traffic, eventually finding your way to Autumn with the last few laps to come into play for you to take that 3rd place? Is Poping there? Because I can't hear him.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I just asked you, how difficult was it to maneuver around the slower traffic today and get a 3rd place out of it?
Not bad. The most difficult was to stay on the track since I did not practice. Oh yeah, I died a couple times.
Yeah, we saw the mistakes that you made getting around Obvious and Autumn there late. And just if you were to get in the next race, which I believe it is Sonoma, if I'm not mistaken, if you were to qualify and kind of battle your way towards the top spot there, how much does minimizing mistakes on your end kind of affect how your race plays out?
I don't know.
Alright, well, I guess we'll leave it on that. We'll move up to the runner-up, SSR Twig, who drove a very nice race tonight. And Twig, I know you're pretty happy about it, but you tried to do everything you could to counter what Design had in the tank tonight. So if you could just put in your own words on how your pace was tonight to keep up with Design.
I mean, I just had pace to keep up. I didn't have pace to get in front. I mean, I was pretty shocked I was even keeping up, to be honest. But I'm happy I kept up. I tried to make it interesting for everybody, but yeah, I just had pace to keep up. That's all that had in me.
And of course, we saw that Design had more of a top end setup while you had more of a cornering speed. You kind of pit a lap later than Design there while the stops were going on. Do you feel like maybe a few more laps? Do you feel like you could have at least gotten side by side with him when you did come out of the pits?
Definitely not. I was thinking about staying out a lap or two longer, but the car was just feeling bad for me, so I didn't want to give up any more time. I feel like I could have, I feel like I would have lost time if I stayed out, and I was doing better behind Design, so that's why I pit when I pit.
Alright, well, Twig, you drove a nice race tonight. Congrats on the runner up tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. GG's Design.
And that will take us to the top spot. RZM Design with a race win. Started on pole, led lap for lap. And Design, in your own words, describe the battle that you two had, because obviously it was different. You had more of a top end setup while he had more of the cornering side of things on the track. Just what was that battle like from your perspective?
Yeah, man. First, and foremost, I'm going to give a shout out to the sponsor on my car for this series. And I guess we can dive right in, man. I don't think I had the greatest race of my history here at MEA, but I couldn't really get so settled in with this car and track combo with the little practice that I had coming in. Twig drove a crazy race. He never let the pressure go, and any little mistake that I made, it costed me, because there were moments where I would get 1.5, 1.6 out on him, and then I'd hit a little piece of grass on an exit, or go too wide on the carousel, or just little mistakes that I made throughout the race that really kept that really interesting. So, but hats off to him, man. He drove a great race.
And we're off next week to, I believe, Sonoma Full Circuit. I'll double check that right now. Yes, Sonoma Full. Obviously, different track, more technical, more elevation changes. If Twig were to have something in the tank cooking again next week, how are you going to try to approach the battle? Are you going to try to do something different than you did here tonight at Nurburgring, or are you going to try to do the exact same strategy you had?
I think the biggest thing for me, man, was practice. I worked crazy hours this week, and I just got off before this race, and I just, as I tell everyone in the past, in all the interviews here, I put in countless laps with the car combo before racing, and I just didn't do that for this one, and I think it really showed in my performance. But thankfully next week I get a little bit more time off, and I actually have the whole day off, the day of the race. So with some more time, and Sonoma being one of my better tracks, I think next week will look a lot better than today did.
All right, well, Design, congrats on the #1 spot tonight, and we'll see you next week at Sonoma.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up for your post-race interviews with the top 3. Congrats to Design, Twig, and Poping, and the rest of the results are on screen. Thank you, everyone that chatted, tuned in tonight's race, and hopefully we'll see everyone else, the same people, racers, viewers at Sonoma next week, as it's going to be different for how this race is going to play out. So with that, we'll wrap it up tonight. And hopefully I will have a better setup than this, because this was kind of a rush to do this, but I appreciate the time and effort that I had in the window that I had. Thanks to Steve for giving the opportunity to host the series. And yeah, we'll continue on Sonoma next week. And until then, this has been the MEA Porsche Cayman Cup for Nurburgring. I'm your host, RZXJJ Reds, for the weeknight series, and we will see you next week at Sonoma. So good night, everyone.